Total Screen proudly presents the Weekly Set Podcast with Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Episode 224, recorded September 28, 2019. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Set, the official podcast of the Total Screen. I'm your host, my name is Tyson, and joining me today, as always, is my partner in crime here at the Total Screen, William Rohrig.
Hello.
So today we are going to be talking about Disenchantment, the Netflix series from Matt Groening of The Simpsons and Futurama fame. We're going to be talking about part 2 of season 1. So it's weird when Netflix does something like this where they, it's been, I think, over a year since we had Disenchantment season 1.
This might as well be season 2.
It might as well, but they're still calling it part 2 of season 1. Of course, reviews out there are all calling it Disenchantment season 2, which is going to get more confusing when the actual season 2 comes out, if it does.
If it does, yeah. We don't know. It's not getting a lot of traction or buzz, unfortunately. I don't think it has a long life ahead of it,
I think that might be fine. It's strikingly similar to the first half of season 1, where we both talked about how many problems it had, how the pacing was so messy. The whole series was just a hot mess. And then it started to come together at the end. The same things happened in the second half of the season.
It is, but you could see the improvements. You could see
kind of, not at the beginning though. Season 2 didn't start, or season 1 part 2 didn't start at the level that the last episodes ended at.
Right.
It regressed again. And then it took a while to get back up. And it's after they kind of mostly threw away all the storytelling, all the, the main storyline stuff, that it started to actually get better.
Right, yeah. It's when they took it to a more serialized form, because this was a lot less. There's a lot less of an overarching plot in this season than there was last season.
I think it's kind of similar because it picks up again right at the end.
It does.
It's the same thing. They kind of establish that there's something going on, and then they just forget about it. And then right before the last couple episodes, they're like, oh yeah, it's back again. Here's some stuff.
True.
It's okay, but I actually thought that the better episodes are the ones that had nothing to do with the overarching plot this time.
My favorite episode was the episode where she went to Steampunk City.
Yeah. That might tie into the overarching plot, but right now we're not really 100% sure, but that was a good one. I honestly, I'd watched a bunch of the episodes and then put them off for a while just because I just wasn't really all that into it. And then last night I was finally I need to get through this. So I watched the last 3 episodes and I thought they were possibly the best episodes of the season. Maybe the series so far. Well, I guess that it is just the one season, so that would be the series so far, but yeah, it was some of the best episodes. It's, there
was the episode where the elves got sick.
Yeah. That wasn't really, that was still kind of a little bit on the weak side for me, but the last 3 episodes, think about what the last 3 episodes were.
I think the last 3 episodes were the episode.
The play.
The
SteamWorld episode, and then the final one with her awaiting trial.
Yeah.
Those are the best episodes of the season, I think.
And I think all 3 of those episodes are really about her relationship with her father.
Yeah.
Because they explored her relationship with her mother, which was fucked up. But now they're getting more into her relationship with her dad.
Yeah. They're trying to do a little bit of her relationship with her brother. They still haven't quite found a really good way into that. They had kind of a one-off episode that kind of more focused on that.
Yeah, they did the one-off. The one with the giant octopus.
Yeah.
They kidnapped him.
Yeah, so they did some stuff like that, but it's not really, I don't know, their relationship isn't really that viable yet, as far as, it just, there isn't much of a connection you can have as an audience to it.
Well, they'll get there. I have,
maybe, if they continue.
I have pretty much the same feelings I had from the first half of the season, where, it's improving, and there's still a lot of room. It can only continue to improve. I think.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I thought was going to happen in this second half of the season. I'm like, oh, okay, it improved a lot at the end of the first half, so it's going to take like a year, and then it's going to come back, and it's going to have all those improvements from just, people reacting to the show and pointing out what did and didn't work, and they're going to be able to respond to that and make a better show. But, like, when the show came back, it was kind of weak for quite a while before it started finding its pace again.
I also think, in a way, like, maybe our expectations are, like, just too high because, like...
Because of his previous work, yeah.
Yeah, because of the previous work, because of Futurama and The Simpsons. And I'm thinking, like, maybe it's not fair because it's not trying to be Futurama, it's not trying to be, like, The Simpsons. It's a lot less focused on the jokes. Like, the jokes are there, but they're clearly secondary to, like...
It's almost more like funny stuff than jokes.
Yeah, it's
like,
more
instead of a setup
stuff.
and then a joke, it's more just like, oh, here's something kind of weird.
Yeah, here's something kind of weird, yeah. It's clear that they want, like, the story and the characters to be, like, more central than just, like, gags. But, yeah, I don't know, I guess that's part of the reason too, is because, you go into it expecting Futurama and it's not fantasy Futurama.
Yeah. I mean, you come in with all these lofty expectations and then you're kind of disenchanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what it was like. Like, I'm like looking through episode kind of descriptions, and I'm like, the whole like meeting Elfo in Hell thing, that was like, it just happened so fast, it was like almost pointless.
Right.
Like, it almost just didn't need to be there. The best part about them going to hell was running into like Hansel and Gretel.
Yep, the best part was running into Hansel and Gretel. I also like the stuff with like Elfo and like God.
Yeah.
Elfo trying to do like something like so bad he gets kicked out of heaven into hell, and like God's not bothered by anything. And then he mildly like insults like the one guy there,
Jerry, yeah.
Jerry, like her, being aunts and uncles, like a servant guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Who ends up dead and goes to heaven, apparently. Like, he ends up there, he like mildly insults him, and like God is like, hey, you don't insult Jerry, and then he sends him to hell.
Yeah. I think they've been doing a pretty good job of establishing Elfo as like really passive aggressive.
Yes, yeah. I really see, and that this is the show's saving grace, because I do genuinely love the characters. Like, Elfo is great, like being like passive aggressive. Like Bean's a good character. Like, the demon is like such a great character as well.
Mm-hmm. But you know who stole the show this season?
Who?
Prince Merkimer.
Prince Merkimer. Oh, the pig.
Yes.
Yes, he was great.
As voiced by Matt Berry.
The great Matt Berry.
Who just had an amazing performance in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes. The TV series of What We Do in the Shadows, not the movie.
Yeah.
So people don't get confused. Which also is an hilarious. Laugh a minute. That show's Laugh a Minute. We're not here talking about that show.
I wish we were. That's kind of like the main thing I could say about Disenchantment, is that it's I don't know, I was really excited coming back to it because I was really excited about part 1 of season 1 when it first came out. I was like really looking forward to it. And then I watched it and I was like really disappointed with the way it went, but it kind of ended on a note of like, oh, this is going to get better.
Right.
And then it's almost like they hit the exact same pitfalls again in the second half. Like the same things that it's like, oh, I thought you guys had moved past this, and the same problems, but then again, it ended again with the same promise of something of it being better.
And funny enough, like, it did that again, because the ending, like, promises, like it got more interesting at the ending.
Yeah, the Steamland is really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that, if the series is even picked up for another season. I thought that it was interesting, kind of the whole situation with her being kind of tried, and the kind of the push for power by Oddball and Sorcerer EO. These weird character names. I thought that was kind of interesting with them kind of like trying to use the prince, as like a power play.
Yeah,
with the king being injured.
With the king being injured, with Tiabini, having shot him. And like, it's funny because like, they have like the one wizard there, like he's supposed to be like healing the king.
It's like freshly shampooed rats.
Yeah, freshly shampooed rats, and we put them on the, like, oh, rats carry disease, so clearly they eat disease. So we'll just, and then
you like what was it, him trying to figure out the dragon summoning flute?
Yes, the dragon summoning flute.
Just putting a gun in his mouth and blowing on the barrel. Yeah, there's a lot of like there's a lot of promise in this. There's a lot of things I can point out and go like, oh yeah, that was really good, or that was really cool, and stuff like that. But like sitting through it was a bit of a drag.
Yeah, there's some funny stuff, like in the episode with the with the guy from like the steampunk city, you know, like when they capture him and they're parading him through the streets, and then he shouts out, no, you don't understand. They're like execute him. And then he's like, no, you don't understand what you're doing. And one guy in the background just yells, kill him before we understand what we're doing.
I think if you can really point out two things that Disenchantment has done really well, this besides all the pitfalls it's fallen into, the two things they've done really well. We already talked about characterization. Mm-hmm, they have like really interesting characters. The other thing is like the kind of the class divide.
Yes.
Of like the peasants kind of in the city and the way they kind of represent that.
The peasants and the royalty.
Yeah, that's actually really good as well. That's like an aspect of world building that really actually works in this.
Right.
Like a lot of the world building in this has been
actually
kind of rather disappointing.
Actually, I thought the world building has been good. Like, again, I point to Steam because they had the steampunk city that exists in this world, and that's an additional element.
That's kind of maybe building. The first really interesting aspect of world building they've done. Yeah. Besides the class structure within Dreamland.
Right.
Like it didn't really feel like a lived-in world or something before that. Like a lot of the stuff is like, oh, okay, so you have the Giants Village here, and you have this stuff here, and it's
right.
But it never really felt cohesive, and
it was just like more like they were just like it was just tropes that they were just using.
Like it didn't really feel solid. Even just the elves living in the enchanted forest thing, like even that like didn't really necessarily work all that well. Mm-hmm. But like where they've done it well, especially in the second half of this season, the part that we're discussing is in the class system within Dreamland itself, within the city, especially with the elves moving into the city and how they become kind of like the lowest class, like, you know, within the city. And just the way that that's represented, like they're just kind of in the ultra slums basically, and all of that has kind of made it work more. But that was kind of it. That was the only area where it was really working until we saw Steamland. Then Steamland was like, okay, this is like really cool. This is interesting. I'd like to see more of this. I'd like to see how Steamland works, you know, how the different characters within it and stuff, how everything fits together there. It was just a big tease though. We didn't really get a lot out of it. Hopefully that means that if we do get more of the show, SteamWorld becomes part of this kind of conspiracy against Zog and we end up getting more of it.
Yeah, hopefully. That'd be cool. But that's assuming Netflix renews it, which, you know, Netflix as of late has proven to be extremely fickle.
Yeah. 3 seasons is kind of the new Netflix standard.
Right.
It's like at least it's more than the Fox 1 season.
Yeah, the Fox 1
standard we used to know.
You could at least take solace that Firefly was a Netflix show. It would have had 3 seasons.
Yeah. A lot of shows on Netflix have been getting that axe. Like the OA, for example, got axed after 2 seasons, but they were offered a 3rd season. They just turned it down because they were like, no, we can't finish our story in 1 season.
Right.
And so Netflix was like, well, then you get no seasons.
And you get no seasons. At least Glow got.
And then they said, bitch. Yeah, Glow, we're gonna get a fourth season on. I think like 3 or 4 seasons is fine. Like, I think 3 seasons for a show might be fine in a lot of cases.
In a lot of cases,
but they just,
yeah.
but they need to go in knowing that. Like, the showrunners need to know.
Yeah, the showrunners
that they're telling a 3-season story.
Yeah, they need to plan for that, like, it's incredibly difficult because sometimes, like, that's the most difficult thing in writing a television show is planning out the story and how you're going to end it, because there's even cases where, like, yeah, like, you might get canceled early and not finish your story, but there's cases where you plan out, okay, well, this is, I got 5 seasons worth of a story. It's unlikely we're going to make it there, but if we make it there, then I would have said everything I gotta do, and then, whoops, you're renewed for another 10 seasons. Supernatural.
Yeah.
So having the Supernatural.
Yeah, every season they were preparing for it to be their last until they finished the 5-season arc they were trying desperately to make it through, and then they just got like 10 more seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we need to get through the story. Oh my god, we might get canceled. We need to get through the story. They get through the story. 10 more seasons. Just like, it suddenly became like no more struggle for them. That's actually, I think that kind of worked. I don't think that works with most stuff, but in the case of Supernatural, I think it kind of worked because
it worked with Supernatural because Supernatural.
I think they stopped caring after season 5 with Supernatural, like the people behind the show, and they just started having fun.
Well, it worked. They clearly started. It worked for Supernatural because Supernatural has a broad premise that is malleable that they can work with. It's not like something super tight, like, structure where, like, if they go beyond their planned story, what the hell are they going to do?
But I think more than anything, it's just that if you want to watch just a tight story, you can watch the first 5 seasons of Supernatural.
Right,
and you have a tight story, and it comes to a close, and it ends, and there you go. That's why I always, whenever I talk about Supernatural, I tell people, everything after season 5, like, don't expect that same, like, really strong story going through that you had in the first 5 seasons. Think of everything else after that as, like, a really long epilogue.
I think the best example would be Saint Elsewhere, where they ended it. They said, okay, this is the last season. We're gonna end it with a bang, and they ended it by they had like a wrecking crane come in and destroy the hospital and wreck everything, and then the network came in and said, oh, we ordered you for another season, and they're like, we destroyed the hospital. We fucked everything up. I know how do we get?
This is a funny thing. Yeah, it's funny the way TV can work like that. You know, it's like you're in fear of cancellation, and then you finally make a bold move, and you're like, okay, now we're done, and it's like, you're back. It's like, what? Wait a minute. So with like Supernatural, like, it's just, even though they did some dark storylines and stuff for later seasons after season 5, in general, it just feels like the people behind the show don't care about telling a compelling story anymore. Like, what they care about is just making the show fun.
Sure,
and so, like, if you like the characters and stuff, then living with those characters through those other seasons is a lot of fun. It's almost like fan fiction. It's like, you get the fan fiction continuation, anything goes. There's no like worry about disrupting the story or the story working or not working. It's like, the story's done. You already got that done. So everything else on top of it's just gravy at that point. And that kind of worked. I think in a lot of shows that doesn't work because they try too hard to like go, okay, well, we're continuing on, so we have to like make this bigger and badder than before. We have to like really develop this further like that. And it's like, with Supernatural, they just, I think, stopped caring about that aspect.
Right.
After season 5. And then it just, because of that, they just kind of said, yeah, let's just do whatever. And that made it fun. It's like 2 separate shows almost,
But to bring it
we're way off
back
topic.
Around to Disenchantment, we don't know if first of all, we don't know if like there's a planned like set story for this, or if they're just like kind of going off, or if they're going to even be able to finish whatever story that they have planned.
Yeah. Well, we don't even know if like there's going to be another season at all after this. There's no confirmation about it being picked up. But what's interesting about that is that it's very likely, actually, that they've already started production on more episodes, because animation is like that. I remember when Futurama got canceled on Fox, the first time it got canceled, because that got canceled like 3 times. But the first time it was canceled on Fox, they still had like 2 seasons worth of episodes left to air. So they didn't like remove it from the air. They just said, we're not going to make any more after this point. So it's like, you know, the creators of the show are like, okay, so we're canceled, but it's like, it's still going to be airing new episodes for another 2 years. Because they had gotten so far ahead of their production schedule with the episodes. It's just, animation's weird like that. It takes time to do. You can't have a quick turnaround time.
Right.
But you can once you get a system in place, you can start dishing out episodes, and if you're expecting to just do a bunch of seasons, you could end up way ahead. You know, and a lot of the people involved in Futurama are the same people involved in Disenchantment. Not just some of the actors and not just Matt Groening, but a lot of the people behind the scenes are from Futurama as well. So we might very well have a case where, like, Netflix could walk in and say, yeah, we're canceling it, but there's still like another 2 seasons we haven't aired yet.
Right. And we don't even know, like, because we don't know how much this is costing Netflix. This might not even be costing Netflix as much as, like, a lot of the other shows that they buy.
Oh, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's some good voice actors on the show that are popular mostly because they were on, like, Futurama and stuff. But for the most part, there's no, like, really huge names on there.
Yeah. There's no major Hollywood stars. They didn't get,
They're not doing anything crazy as far as, like, animation technique and stuff. I mean, everything that we're seeing is kind of stuff that Futurama already did. Like, the pseudo 3D stuff that's, flat shaded to look 2D. Like, all that stuff. Like, we've already seen that, you know?
Yeah, we've already seen it. Yeah, it's not doing anything super crazy from a budget perspective, you know?
I mean, if you look at, like, the names that are attached on the show, besides voice actors who are, you know, like, if you're in a voice acting community, there's a lot of people that you'd go, oh yeah, those are really good. There's only, like, 2 real names. Eric Andre and Matt Berry.
Right.
Those are the only ones that it's like, oh yeah, this is like a big name person, you know?
And Matt Berry isn't even like that.
Neither of them. Eric Andre isn't either. Neither are huge.
Again, they're not like major Hollywood. They're the most recognizable because, you know, Eric Andre has a popular show on Cartoon Network, and Matt Berry did a lot of stuff for British television and, you know, and now US television because he has What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows, yeah. But it's not like they're paying for Chris Pratt to, like, do a voice in this or something.
Yeah, exactly. There's nobody, like, really huge on it or anything. And you know, like, there are some, if you're into voice actors, there's some big names, cause there's, you know, John DiMaggio and Billy West.
And Billy West, yeah, like, you know, I think also, like, you know, Matt Groening himself is probably taking a nice cut, but,
yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, it's gotta be a fairly cheap production. I'd imagine.
So, I mean, so, you know, can't write off its chances yet, you know? It's not done until Netflix announces it's done.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll keep going on, but, you know, Netflix has also tried their hand at a bunch of animation stuff, and a lot of that stuff has kind of beat out that whole, like, 3 seasons and out thing. I mean, BoJack Horseman, for example, ended up being kind of a critical success, and I think it's going on, like, season 7 or something. So, we have, Big Mouth its 3rd season is coming up, and I think it might already have a 4th season ordered. But that was like, both of those shows got a lot more talk than Disenchantment. Like, people are talking about Big Mouth, and people are talking about BoJack Horseman, but they're not really talking about Disenchantment. So who knows? It's all a matter of, you know, tiny micro business decisions that, that's kind of where it's in the realm of. Like, this isn't like a huge expenditure production for Netflix, but it's something where, like, they might go like, oh yeah, we could save a few bucks by cutting this and starting some other show up, you know? Or they could just go, you know, it's not worth it to cancel it. There's enough people that are into it that we'll just continue to, you know, placate them and make them happy.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if is there anything else you want to talk about with the season? Like, I thought we'd have more to talk about, but it kind of became, like, the serialized part that I thought was going to be much bigger in this half of the season.
The serialized part
ended up kind of diminishing into not much at all.
I'd say it lasts, like, it's the first 2 episodes of the season.
And then, like, the last 2 episodes, maybe?
Yeah, the last 2, like, yeah, once they bring Elfo back to life, that whole storyline is wrapped up. I mean, there's some left on. There's like the deal with, like, the music box and her seeing, like, her mother, like.
Yeah.
and that's all set up for like the last episode and the
Yeah.
mysterious symbols that like are everywhere. But they did, they hint at that stuff, but they don't become like the majority of the story. Like they're just there as asides.
Yeah, they're just kind of background details.
While like other things are happening in the other episodes. Like I guess I don't know, what was your favorite episode?
Maybe the Steamworld episode, maybe the Play episode, the one before that.
Right.
Both of those I think were really strong. I actually thought the last episode, even though it wasn't kind of as funny, just kind of with her being in prison and facing that, was actually kind of good.
I was
actually
good,
kind of invested in her plight at that point,
Right, exactly. Yeah, I like
and I
that.
was kind of like feeling bad about the king dying and stuff. Like I'm like, oh god, is he gonna die? So like I actually kind of found myself a little bit more attached than I would have expected. So like I said, the last 3 episodes of the season were really kind of the strongest for me. Besides that, I don't know, maybe the one with the circus performers they're trying to rob.
Oh yeah, the trolls.
Yeah,
who are pretending to be elves.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That had its strengths. It did feel like a little bit of a retread of season 1 episode, which they actually revisited those characters in that Steamland episode. They like revisited them. She bought her potatoes from them. The people that like were in that group that backstabbed her when she was trying to rob her own crypt or whatever.
I liked not the whole episode, but I liked one episode where like the king tries to give himself gout.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like the royal snooty disease.
Yes.
And then he finds out, like, what happens once you get gout.
What happens when you get gout? Of course, like, the next episode, like, with literally, like, nothing happening between episodes, like, he no longer has gout. But that's one thing where it's like, okay. Like, continuity can be spotty like that.
I gotta say that there is one scene, and it was in, I think, the last episode that, like, really struck me. I kind of cracked up, and I just thought it was really well done. Which was where, after they took the crown off of the king's head when he was, like, laying in bed dying, and the one guy, Sorcerio or whatever, says,
yes.
Oh, get this crown to Oddville. And then the guy taking it, as he's, like, walking down the stairs, he puts the crown and goes, oh, look at me, I'm king. And he's like,
yes, yeah. And then
he runs into Oddville, and then it just cuts to his head on a pike.
Yeah. That was great. Yes, that was it. Like I said, like there aren't a lot of jokes, but like the jokes, like a lot of times are like spot on like that. That's why I like too, because when they do like strike, they hit it more often than not.
See, I might disagree with you on hitting it more often than not, because there's so many jokes that just don't land that well. Especially in the earlier episodes in the season, like I said. There's one in the later thing where she's like, Bean wakes up and she's like, what time is it? And like 3 birds crash into a bell, and she's like, 3 o'clock, or something like that.
Yeah,
it was kind of like, okay. Yeah, it just didn't land,
Well, what was the worst episode of the season for you?
Oh, I don't know. Might have been like close to after they returned to hell. Right around there, it kind of went downhill for a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for me it would be probably The Lonely Heart is a Hunter, where King Zog gets involved with this bear who turns into a woman.
Yeah.
I just thought that whole episode was kind of
Well, like, maybe if they had done something with it, but they didn't,
Yeah, exactly.
They had this kind of one-off relationship thing, and then she was gone, and that was it.
Right. Like he tries to, like, scheme to keep her around, but then he feels guilt and he lets her go.
Yeah.
And it's like, Yeah, they didn't really do anything with that. So that
the next episode after that was also kind of, that was the one where the elves got sick.
Yeah.
That wasn't that great, The Dreamland job one wasn't that great.
I know, I like that.
Oh no, wait, that was the one with the...
That was the one with the,
okay, yeah, that one was good.
That one was good. Probably like...
Love's Slimy Embrace, like, they had the right motive for that episode. It was like trying to establish more of a relationship between Bean and her brother, but like, it just didn't really click that well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best part of that was probably, they had the gout stuff, which was kind of funny. And they also had the one, like, old sea captain,
Yes.
That was kind of funny, but, like, for the most part, the rest of the episode was kind of a slog.
Okay, well, alright, I think we milked this for all that we can get out of it.
Yeah, got about as much as we can out of it.
Okay.
I'd actually, as much as I've been kind of negative about it, I kind of like to see it come back just because
I would like to see it.
It pulled the same trick on me it did before.
Well, like I said, I don't hate it. I've never hated it. Like, it's got good characters. It's not a laugh a minute, but sometimes I could tell some good jokes that make you laugh. Like, it's humorous. It's got great characters.
It's maybe a good background show where you're doing other things.
I feel like they're doing a better job building the world. So I would like to see it come back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm completely not invested in the storyline with her mom anymore.
Right. Yeah, me neither.
I think that's just boring. And it ended on that, and I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that was done, like, at the beginning of the season.
I wanted to see more of Steamland at that point. I'm like, come on. What's the Steamland conspiracy that's going on? That was interesting. And it's like,
that's the thing, because, they were obviously there to, like, assassinate King Zog, but for what reasons? Why? What was the motives? We don't know. That's all. That's never explained.
Yeah, so that's it. That's for Disenchantment. Part 2 of Season 1. Now let's move on to what's coming up in the week ahead. So we're recording this on Saturday the 28th, but yesterday on Friday, on the 27th, the fall season continued with lots of show drops. Blue Bloods on CBS, Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum P.I. also on CBS, American Housewife and Fresh Off the Boat on ABC, Van Helsing on Sci-Fi. I can't believe that show's still around, but they've canceled, like Dark Matter and stuff.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Sci-Fi is garbage.
Yeah, I just watched it for the magicians, and I thought Deadly Class was okay, especially towards the end. The Transparent special came to Amazon Prime, and then, of course, Netflix has a ton of shows. So The Politician, which is the first show with their deal with Ryan Murphy, the creator of Scream Queens and American Horror Story and Glee and all that. That's his first show for Netflix, just came out. Also, Bard of Blood, El Marginal, Locked Up, and Skylines all hit Netflix yesterday. Then tomorrow on Sunday, September 29th, God Friended Me comes to CBS, as does NCIS Los Angeles. And then on Fox, Bless the Hearts, Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, The Simpsons, like all their animation domination schedule, basically. The Rookie returns to ABC, that's Nathan Fillion's show. The Girls in Curfew and Poldark are back on PBS. Godfather of Harlem on Epix. And Robot Chicken returns on Adult Swim. On Tuesday, October 1st, Sorry for Your Loss returns on Facebook Watch. On Wednesday, October 2nd, SEAL Team on CBS, SWAT on CBS, Almost Family on Fox. On Friday, October 4th, The Blacklist on NBC, and then Netflix has a big night with Peaky Blinders, Raising Dion, and Big Mouth. Those are 3 big shows. You have one big foreign show for them. I had mentioned Big Mouth being like a huge comedy for them, and Raising Dion's like a pretty big profile show that they're going to be pushing, I believe. Also, Goliath returns on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
Then on Sunday, October 6th, Back to Life on Showtime, Batwoman on the CW, Supergirl on the CW, Madam Secretary on CBS, Get Shorty on Epix, Star Wars Resistance on Disney, Mr. Robot on USA. That's the big one for us. And also Press on PBS and The Walking Dead on AMC. The Walking Dead used to be a really big deal, but I think people are mostly just kind of getting tired of it now.
Yeah, I think so. Like, but people aren't going to be interested forever. Come on.
Yeah. But man, Mr. Robot, I'm psyched for that.
I'm psyched for Mr. Robot. Yeah, like, obviously, like, this is going to be the last season.
I like that they're doing it like a big Christmas special, too.
Yeah. I loved it because I read the interview he did a while back where he's like, oh, British shows always have a Christmas special. And he's like, so I thought I'd do a Christmas special, but it'd be the entire last season that's the Christmas special.
That's good, because it tells you a little bit about the tone, because Christmas specials are often, like, bittersweet.
Right,
that's kind of like the tone for them, so that kind of fits with Mr. Robot. It'll be cool to see.
And you heard the news that Sam Esmail is doing Battlestar Galactica spinoff.
Yes, for Peacock, which is NBC's streaming service.
Yes.
So I guess now I have to get Peacock.
Yeah, I guess you do. Yeah.
At least for a month. I don't know. Monday, October 7th, All American on the CW, Black Lightning on the CW, Primal on Adult Swim. Tuesday, October 8th, The Flash on the CW. Wednesday, October 9th, Nancy Drew and Riverdale on the CW. Thursday, October 10th, Legacy's on the CW, and Supernatural begins its final season. It's like 15th season, I believe, on the CW.
Damn.
And then on Friday, October 11th, Charmed on the CW, Dynasty on the CW, Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon is coming back.
It's hilarious because, like, you read off those CW shows and I think, is this reruns on TNT?
Yes.
Yeah, what is
Now, this is the week, like, that week is when all the CW shows basically come back.
Yeah, but
they only have 2 hours a night of programming, and it's like, so
it's funny
thing.
because he lists off shows like, oh, Charmed and Dynasty, and I'm like, God damn, this is like cable syndication reruns. Like, that's what it sounds like. It doesn't
that's
sound
that
like
new Charmed that's
new
really
shows.
bad.
Yeah.
It's the old Charmed is really bad too, but the new Charmed is like, ugh, it's pretty bad. But can you believe they're bringing back Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, I can't. I'm interested to check that out. I don't know why, but just to compare it to like the original, I guess.
I saw a trailer for it. It's just a mini-series, so it's going to be short.
Oh, okay.
But the trailer for it kind of annoyed me a little bit because you know the structure of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The kids, they go to the woods, they have their midnight society, one of them tells a story.
Sure.
And the story is kind of like a family-friendly ghost story kind of thing.
Yeah. It's nothing too intense. Although the episode with like the glasses and they put on the glasses and then there are like these hidden extra dimensional people all around, like fucking kind of creeped me out back in the day.
There's some really creepy stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But that was the basic structure of the show, is that, like, when I watched the trailer for the new one, it looks like they're trying to do, like, a serialized story.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, the stories start coming to life or something. And I'm like, I don't like that. That's like a generic horror trope.
Yeah, that's generic horror. Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
And that's not what Are You Afraid of the Dark is. Like, the main cast, the Midnight Society, they were just telling horror stories. There was no, like, they were never in peril. There was no, like, that was kind of like the whole point, you know?
I think towards the end of the run, they tried to do, like, one episode involving them, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of them doing that with the series, but it's interesting that they're bringing it back, you know?
Yeah.
This is a show that I remember very fondly growing up, so yeah, we'll have to see if it's any good, but I doubt it.
It's funny because, like, people, like, have fond memories, but it's like at that time I was also watching Tales from the Crypt on HBO.
Watching, like, real horror shows.
Yeah, watching, like, real horror shows, and I'm like, you know, this Are You Afraid Dark's okay, but this is, like, kiddie shit compared to what's going on HBO.
Yeah.
Like, and also it's not fair because, like, my mom was like a horror nut, so I was raised on horror movies. So
yeah, I was trying to get my family to watch horror movies. My sister was scared of them. My mom was scared of them. My dad wasn't really around at that point, so it was like,
oh really?
Yeah, like, so I couldn't get any of them to watch it. So like my horror experiences were very limited. But Are You Afraid of the Dark was when I could get them both to watch.
Right.
It was just that right level.
It was tame enough.
It was creepy, but it was tame enough. Yeah.
Because I remember like being 6 years old and watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't even sign up for this. This the movies my mom would watch, and I was just there, and I had to watch them. Like,
you were a victim to it.
I was victim to it.
But also on that night, The Birch comes to Facebook Watch, Little Monsters to Hulu, and here's a really big one. This is something, you want to talk about something I'm psyched about. El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie.
Yes. Yes, I got it.
I am so psyched.
It's time to finish Breaking Bad, I think.
Yeah, you're what, like one season behind? Or?
Yeah, I think I was on season 5 when I stopped.
Yeah, season 6 is where it ended, so you just gotta finish it off.
I just gotta finish it off. I just gotta get there. And then I can watch El Camino. Breaking Bad movie.
It's so good. Just watching the trailers for it and stuff, the little teasers, and they finally put out a real trailer for it. I am so in. I cannot wait for this to come out. Breaking Bad was one of the best shows ever. So it's super cool to see it not only coming back, but looking like they just nailed it.
You're goddamn right.
Of course I am. But that's it for this week's podcast. Next week, we're going to be doing Advocates of Great Television, because it'll be our 225th episode. And every 25 episodes, we try to do Advocates.
We should do
so we're
Advocates
going to be doing
of
that
Terrible
next
Television.
Week. Advocates of Terrible Television.
Yeah.
It's deniers of terrible television. We'll talk about a TV show, and then we'll end it by saying it, but it doesn't exist. Don't look for it.
It doesn't exist, yes.
Should do Advocates of Obscure Television, where we talk about shows that people can't actually find and watch.
Yeah.
Like, what was that show? It was on Fox. It was from some of the co-creators of the X-Files, not the main guy, but some ones.
Millennium.
No, not that one.
Okay.
It was, I think it was
That's the only
Space Above and Beyond.
Oh, okay. I was also going to think like the Lone Gunman was.
No, those were both from Chris Carter, like the main guy from.
Oh, okay. Well, you said some of the people involved with X-Files, so I just immediately thought about the two shows that were on Fox that were by the creator of the X-Files.
Those were direct spin-offs, yeah. Like, this was a show that was like two of the guys that were involved on the X-Files that left the X-Files and started this show called Space Above and Beyond.
Okay.
It's kind of a precursor to the 2004 Battlestar Galactica. Like, a lot of the kind of stuff that Battlestar Galactica did so well, like Space kind of did way before.
It's funny, because I remember that show being a thing. I don't think I've ever actually watched it.
Yeah, and you can't find it anywhere now.
Damn.
It's like, I think they put it out on DVD at some point, and that's like the last time anything happened with that.
Last time anything happened.
Yeah, it's not streaming anywhere. It's not, it's only on an out-of-print DVD. That's it. So that show's like an impossible find. So, like, we should do something like about that. But the problem with doing a show about like that is that we can't refresh ourselves.
Yeah, you can't find it. You have to go off of vague, like, 20-year-old memories. Like, I remember something happened with this guy.
Yeah. Or we hit the 7 C's. Yeah, exactly. It's like the only ways. But even that, like, I don't know if you'd be able to find that if you were looking for it. It's too obscure.
Not everything is just automatically available just because it exists.
Some stuff is just forgotten, and a lot of those things were Fox shows that lasted one season.
For something like that, you have to hope that somebody has the DVDs and either like dump them, or somebody has like old VHS recordings that they recorded from back in the day.
Yeah, or just hope that somewhere somebody has the rights to it, and it gets, with all these new streaming services, it just winds up in a legacy.
Right.
Collection on that. But, like, there's other stuff. Like, there's a show called Brimstone that was on Fox.
I remember that
It's
show.
the guy who ended up playing Lionel Luthor on Smallville, played the devil.
Yes, yeah.
That was really good. So, like, it'd be cool to do something like that. Maybe if some of these shows end up, like, showing up, we could do something like that. But next week, again, we're doing Advocates of Great Television. We're going to try to do something a little bit different. Normally, we'd announce what the shows we're going to be watching are, but because we're doing something a little bit different, we're not going to kind of really know what's going on until kind of right before, I guess. So, I'll get to Will in time so he has time to watch it, but it's not going to be something we're going to be able to put in this podcast to let you know exactly what we're going to be watching. But you can hear our discussion about it next week and see if any of the shows sound appealing to you. But until then, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at Voxel Euro. You can check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, as well as our site, thetotalscreen.com. You can subscribe to this podcast through any major podcast client like iTunes or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of our podcast is available on our YouTube channel. So thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
If you would like to reach out to us and make a comment, send an email to contact@thetotalscreen.com. Stay tuned to The Total Screen for the very best